What's the deal with the due diligence fee and earnest money deposit in North Carolina? Hi, I'm Bill Stevenson with Spotlight Realty, and we get this question a lot because it's a little bit weird, it's a quirky and particular thing about North Carolina real estate, that we actually have two deposits. Most states have one, just an earnest money deposit that goes to an escrow agent. I'll get to that in a second. But first, we have a due diligence fee. In North Carolina, there's a fee that you should look at as being completely non-refundable, because as soon as you make the offer with the due diligence fee and that offer is accepted, you have to write that check directly to the seller, and you're actually never going to get it back. Think of it as a non-refundable deposit that goes toward the purchase price of the home, but if you back out at any point during the transaction, that fee is completely lost. That is different from earnest money. Earnest money is a refundable deposit that is given, under some circumstances it's refundable. A refundable deposit that's given to an escrow agent. So typically the closing attorney will hold the earnest money deposit. Now that deposit you can get back if you back out during the due diligence period. So again, if you back out during the due diligence period, you will lose your due diligence deposit, but you'll get your earnest money back typically. If you back out after that, then you lose it. Now, why do we do it this way? Why did North Carolina decide to have these two different deposits? Well, we used to be like every other state where we had just the earnest money deposit, and if you backed out as a buyer from that transaction, you had to back out for a good enough reason. And then sometimes if the seller didn't agree that the reason was good enough, then you had to go to court sometimes. I've known people who went to court in order to get their earnest money back. And that really just slows things down and makes things a lot more complicated than they really need to be. With the due diligence fee, if you back out during the due diligence period, then you definitely get your earnest money back. Remember, the due diligence period is not a set time. It's set, it's negotiated, and it's in the contract. So it's typically around 3 weeks. So if you back out during that period, when you're doing your inspections and getting your loan in order, then you lose your due diligence fee, but you get earnest money back. If you back out after the end of the due diligence period, then you lose both your due diligence fee and your earnest money. They both go to the seller. The seller retains those. And then the seller has to put the home back on the market if they still want to sell it. So I think that's really an interesting and a pretty good way of doing things, because it makes things a lot more certain. It depends far, far less on why you back out. In fact, you don't even have to have a reason to back out, and you don't have to tell the seller why you're backing out. It only matters when you back out. So it used to matter why you backed out, and now it only matters when you do. If you back out during the due diligence period, you lose your due diligence fee and get your earnest money. I know it's complicated, and there are a lot of little intricacies here, including the fact that sometimes the earnest money is not due when you make your offer. It's due weeks later. So, in any case, if you have questions about these things or anything else regarding real estate in the Triangle in the future, you know who to call. I'm Bill Stevenson with Spotlight Realty.